Hey, today I will be teaching you how to simplify fractions. To do that, we first need to know what fractions are and their parts. So what is a fraction? A fraction is a part of a whole. It has a numerator and a denominator. For example, 2/3. The top number is the numerator. It tells us how many parts we have. And the bottom number is called the denominator, how many equal parts the whole has been divided into. This line, the fraction bar, it separates the numerator and the denominator, and it can be read as 2/3 or 2/3, but the best way to say this fraction would be 2/3. Simplifying means to make the fraction as simple as possible. There are two ways to simplify a fraction. The first method is when you try to exactly divide both numerator and denominator of the fraction by prime numbers until we cannot go any further. The first few prime numbers are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, and it goes on. All these numbers, they're prime numbers because they have two factors only, 1 and the number itself. Let us simplify 12/54 using method 1. We can also call it 12/54 or 12/54. We know that both 12 and 54 are even numbers. So I can exactly divide both my numerator and denominator by 2. 12 divided by 2 gives us 6, and 54 divided by 2 gives us 27. We know that 6 and 27, both these numbers are exactly divisible by 3. Exactly divisible mean it leaves us with no remainder. So 6, so we divide both numerator and denominator by 3. 6 divided by 3 is exactly 2 without any remainder, and 27 divided by 3 is exactly 9 without any leftover or remainder. 2 and 9 cannot be exactly divided by any numbers, so that is as far as we can do. Let us do another example. 10/45. My numerator is 10 and denominator is 45. 10 is exactly divisible by 2, but 45 is not my even number and it is not exactly divisible by 2. So we cannot divide both numerator and denominator by 2. Again, we can't divide 10 and 45 by 3 either. We can try dividing both 10 and 45 by 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2, and 45 divided by 5 would be 9. That's done. That's the simplest form of 10/45. We call this as 2/9 or 2/9 or 2/9. Let us look at method 2, where we need to write the factors of both numerator and denominator to find the HCF, and then divide both numerator and denominator by their HCF. Let's do an example. 6/12. To find the HCF of 6 and 12, we list the factors of 6 and 12 first. When we list the factors, we start with 1 and the number itself. We would leave a gap in between so we can list all the factors in order from smallest to largest. 1 times 6 gives us 6. Now think of any other numbers when multiplied together will give us 6. We know 2 times 3 gives us 6. And that's all the factors of 6. Now let's list the factors of 12. When we list the factors, we start with 1 and the number itself, because 1 times 12 gives us 12. Think of any other numbers when multiplied gives us 12. 2 times 6 gives us 12. We also know 3 times 4 gives us 12. That's all the factors of 12. Now we are done with listing all the factors of numerator and denominator. Let's find our HCF. Our HCF would be the greatest common factor in both numerator and denominator. So I can see my greatest factor in both 6 and 12 is 6. So I will be dividing both my numerator and denominator by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1 and 12 divided by 6 is 2. So 1/2 is the simplest form. Let us do another example, 10/30ths. So my first step would be to list all the factors of 10 and 30. We start with 1 and 10 because 1 times 10 gives us 10. We also know 2 times 5 gives us 10. That is all the factors of 10. Let us list the factors of 30 now. 1 times 30 gives us 30. We also know 2 times 15 gives us 30. And 3 times 10 also gives us 30. That's all the factors of 30. To find HCF, we need to identify the greatest common factor in both the list. The highest common factor that I can see is 10. So I will be dividing both my numerator and my denominator by 10. So 10 divided by 10 gives me 1 and 30 divided by 10 gives me 3. 1/3 is the simplest form. I'll show you 2 more examples. Let's do 25 out of 40 or 25/40ths. Let us list the factors of 25 and 40, starting with 1 and the number itself. 1 times 25 is 25. Think of any other numbers that when multiplied gives us 25. The only number that I can think of is 5 times 5 is 25. That's all the factors of 25. Let us list the factors of 40. We start with 1 times 40 gives us 40. We also know 2 times 20 gives us 40. 4 times 10 also gives us 40. And 5 times 8 also gives us 40. That's all the factors of 40. Let us identify the highest or the greatest common factor here. I can see the greatest common factor here is 5. So I will be dividing both my numerator and denominator by 5. 25 divided by 5 gives us 5 and 40 divided by 5 gives us 8. So 5/8 is in its simplest form. The last example that I would be doing would be this fraction 8/9. We need to simplify this fraction. So first let us list all the factors of 8 and 9, okay? So for 8, we start with 1 and 8. 1 times 8 gives us 8. We also know 2 times 4 gives us 8. And that's all the factors of 8. Let us list all the factors of 9. We start with 1 and 9 because 1 times 9 gives us 9. Any other number multiplied gives us 9. Yes, 3 times 3 gives us 9. So that's all the factors of 9. The highest common factor in both the list is 1. When 1 is the only common factor of its numerator and denominator, we know that the fraction is already in its simplest form. So we don't need to simplify 8/9 anymore. It's already in its simplest form.